For the Cardinals squad show, my name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show and Locked On Phoenix Suns. Kyler Murray looked pretty good for most of this game outside of one boneheaded interception. Which quarterback is he? Let's talk about it.
I'm Jamil Douglas, former NFL offensive lineman and former Sun Devil. Well, I'm still a Sun Devil, but Cardinals defense loses Will Johnson, Jalen Thompson, Max Melton injury. Can they overcome this?
What the hell did we just watch? Let's get it. Just hit it. Just let's go. Let's go.
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals squad. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
What is up, and welcome back into a winning edition of the Cardinals Squad Show, even though, we're not so sure if it feels that way right now, but thanks for making the Cardinals Squad Show your first listen here on this beautiful Sunday night. Maybe you're listening to this Monday morning, but don't forget the Cardinals Squad Show is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so click that follow and or subscribe button. Do what thousands of Cardinals fans have already done, become an everydayer and get locked onto the Arizona Cardinals right here each and every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week, moving the game forward. Mazda, move and be moved. What's up, fellas? Look, there's a lot of people already in this chat. I haven't read a single comment. I can't wait to do so, but we'll do the games like we normally do. Instant reaction. We'll go offense. We'll go defense. We'll go some lessons of this game. But kind of a tale of a couple of games similar to last week. The Cardinals get up big, 27-3, if I'm not mistaken, in this game. Completely or nearly squander that lead. For back-to-back weeks, inferior quarterbacks have a chance to go down the field and win this game. The Cardinals defense kind of steps up with the game, with the gaming control in their hand and kind of just ends it right there. Never really got any closer than Spencer Rattler did. So, Clancy, I know you just did 20-minute reaction on it, but let's get that synopsis in a 20-minute form, maybe in 3 minutes here. Go for it.
This is the worst I felt after an Arizona Cardinals win in 15 years in sports media.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I mean, the collection of how it happened, the collection of all the injuries, the collection of this is the closest thing to a feeling of a loss without a loss. I'm not a guy who ever blames refs for penalties. That's interesting. You just put that comment up. I'm never one to blame refs at all. Ever, ever, ever. The hold on Denzel Burke when he was in the Arizona State football stadium and Bryce Young was 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That was the only one where I'm like, come on, bro, what are we doing? But the Cardinals, the good part about this that I'm trying to really hold on to here is what we saw was them score 17 points in less than 5 minutes, the last two possessions of the first half and the first possession of the second half, pretty much because the defense put them in a position to do so. So you got to take that. And then the rest of it is expletive, whatever you want to put there.
Jamil?
It's just bad. It's all bad.
Yeah. No, it was, the Panthers aren't, they haven't put it together yet, right? So you would think that the Cardinals would have shown to be much more dominant than I think it was a lot of bad football by the Panthers. It didn't feel like this was one of those games where decisively the Cardinals were just making us feel like they were the dominant team. Slow start to start out, get a couple field goals. It was nice to see them score before half, but man, it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel good because of the team that they were playing against. I think, if this was another team that we consider, contender or even in that category, then maybe we don't have that feeling. But I think we're looking at it from the Panthers standpoint. They're not there yet. And I thought they would be a better team this year, but they're just not there yet. And so a shaky performance considering.
Where do I start? You guys took a lot of the good points. Let's go here. I think there's 3 different avenues you can go down with this game. Avenue number 1 is it's the Carolina Panthers. Previous to this matchup, they had won 8 of the last 9 games against the Cardinals. So you could say to yourself, This team just has the Cardinals number. They
No.
were always going to they were always going to make it difficult. There's two other
No.
options here, Clancy. There's two other options. And you could say to yourself, listen, they always play it tough, and that's how it goes down. The second one is the Cardinals they're a good team, and good teams have to show that they can win ugly, and you could cling on to that. I think Terry said that in the chat too. Hey, they won ugly when their backs were against the wall for the second straight week. They were able to deliver defensively. Old man Calais Campbell throwing Bryce Young around like a rag doll, which is just hilarious. Watching a 6'8" guy take a 5'9" guy down to the ground.
And then there's he's 5'10", okay?
5'10". Okay. People who say they're 5'10" are like me when I say I'm 5'10". I'm really 5'8". And then there's the final avenue, which is the correct way, is that this is something I've been talking about since the offseason, from top down, from Monty Ossenfort, who I love, all the way down to the third string quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. This team is so damn timid and doesn't know when to put teams away. And it hasn't bit them in the ass yet. And I haven't seen the Gannon and Petzing press conferences, which are, hey, we got to win. Good teams, like if you did that even with Mac Jones on the 49ers next week, they will beat you. And the Cardinals have to learn that cannot happen. And so there's so many different avenues you can go down. I think there's real strong concerns about Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially. We'll save that for a second. The pass rush, put Darius Robinson on a milk carton. He was missing most of this game. Josh Sweat outside of the first big play. Like, we can't have these monstrous first halves and even the first drive of the second half and then just like, we're good. This team is way too content. That cannot happen. And at some point, Gannon needs to scream at the offense.
Okay. Some of that is true. Okay. And also, it's not an original story that a team completely takes the heat out of the offense when you're up 27-3 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. You don't want anybody to get hurt. You don't want anything to happen. You don't want to give up. You don't want to give other teams, tape on what you're trying to run if you don't have to. When it comes to the Cardinals today, it was a comedy of, oh no, what is happening, that all happened back to back to back to back to back. And I think that's more and it's not an excuse, it's not a reason. Like the Cardinals, and just can we do a show of hands? Did anybody raise their hand thinking that the Cardinals would have gotten that onside kick? There's no way they were getting that onside kick. Ain't no way in hell.
Good.
No
shot.
There's no way on this lovely earth that they were recovering that. So, which is crazy. 89 times in a row, Carolina did not recover an onside kick until then, which is bonkers. If the Cardinals lost this game, and this is just for a little levity, I don't think one human brain would be able to comprehend if the Cardinals lost this game. Like, I don't think it's rationally, humanly possible for that to happen. They got a dub. It was the ugliest thing in the world. We'll talk about the offense next because Marv, you're 100% right about Marv. Kyler Murray played really well, except for that one interception that was pretty much a punt if he took a sack. Like, I get it, okay? I get it. But that was not one. That was not the Seattle game in Week 11 last year. All in all, nothing really looked good aside from those 3 drives.
Yeah.
But they got to win.
Yeah, they got to win. Hey, they got to win.
9 to go.
Give us the rainbow and sunshines, Jamil. You're the positive guy on this show.
Man, you know what? I was just kind of putting myself in the position of if I'm on the team, right? How would I feel about this win? There's obviously you're happy, right? Because if you lose this game, things go dark. But this game is very glaring in a ton of different areas as to where the Cardinals are vulnerable at. The run game. Bryce Young threw the ball, I want to say 50 something times. There may have, I think, 3 sacks. He wasn't getting touched a lot. So pressure wise, there wasn't a ton of, quarterback hits or him being hurried. He was moving in the pocket. It was just glaring. I think Kyler did a good job of moving in the pocket. We'll talk about that on offense, but I think if you lose this game, it's obviously goes dark. But winning this game, kind of there's like this dull feeling about winning and how it went throughout the course of the game.
Well, can I spin it like this? What if there's like good wins, meaning you got to? Here's what I was thinking: if the Cardinals were about to put this team away, which I thought they were going to do, which shame on me, is well, God, they're feeling themselves going into a divisional game. Do I really want that? Do they think they're going to be better than they actually are? They're going up against Mac Jones. Can you paint it this way? Where like
No.
you win the game and you feel like you lost, and the coaching staff can coach you up. Everyone feels like, well, listen, we won, but we can't let that happen again. Is there any of that there, Jamil?
Well, I'm sure there is from certain players, but the truth of it is the vibe in the building is going to be as if we just won a game, which it should be. It's hard to win an NFL game. With that being said, you go against another team like with anybody besides the Panthers and maybe the Dolphins, because I think the Dolphins are broken again. But anybody outside of those two teams, you play them, you're gonna lose if you play like this again. Let's just keep it real.
Did you, like, when you're with the Dolphins, did you have to get a tattoo on your rear end or something because you lost a bet? Like, what are we doing here? You sound like Ben trying to get you in trouble.
I think he just hates Mike
about it.
McDaniel, dude.
No,
I think he just hates Mike McDaniel.
Nothing against Mike.
So that's right. I mean, Jamil, that's right.
Yeah.
No, Ben, you never want to end a game this way, even if you win or lose. Like, you want them to put up 40 points and win 40-10. Like, it's proof of concept at this point. You could chalk it up to another preseason game where it doesn't matter in the grand scheme, but it's like, at least you saw Marv put up 10 for 90 and 2 touchdowns. Like, if you were to have gone that route, at least you would have seen it. Like, this is the most brutal way to end a game, all things considered. Like, let me ask you this. I would rather the Cardinals have lost and kept Garrett Williams and Max Melton. Like, that's how it feels like a loss. It is a net loss for the Cardinals, even though they're 2-0 and tied for the division lead.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, Jamil. Go for it. I'm changing the titles.
No, you're all good. I was thinking outside of the sack fumble that they scored on defense, like when we think about it in terms of what the offense did in the first half, I think they scored 6 or 9 points, all on field goals, right? So pretty stale until that last drive before halftime where they were able to convert. But to me, this is like I don't know if this was a Cardinals problem or did they play low to what the Panthers are, and that's the worrisome part for me because I don't know how good the Panthers are going to be, but this Cardinals team should have handled them decisively just given the circumstances. And there we are. Here we are.
My whole thing is messed up here. I can't see anything. I agree with a lot of things you had said, Jamil. The problem is I just think this team didn't learn from any of their lessons last week, which is they went to the film room. They said, we're not going to do these things again. We're going to be, we're going to step on the opposing team's throat. We're going to come out aggressive. And they didn't do that for the second straight week. And I think the biggest issue is if they weren't like, if I were to ask you right now, are the Cardinals a good team? I think you'd say yes, but you'd think about it for a second. And after 2 weeks against the Panthers and the Saints, you're like, yeah, they're a good team. But if they fell flat on their face, it wouldn't shock me in 2 weeks here, which I think is like the opposite of where the Cardinals were supposed to be. Where like last week you could say, oh, they won on the road. They covered the spread. And this week where they were up a bajillion points, they completely squandered it at home. And you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm not so sure if this team is actually good. And people like myself are really thinking about their NFC West predictions and like, well, the Rams just win games and you have to think about it after. So that's where I'm at too, Clancy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, this is how the runway was going to be anyways. Like, if they lose the next 2 games, the first 2 games may as well not even happen. They're double whammies, one on the road, one in a short week on Thursday with Seattle coming into town in week 4. Like, if the people will forget, I said this about the Carolina game and the Saints game, but if the Cardinals win in San Francisco against the backup quarterback and no George Kittle, like, it's cool. Let's rip. Like, that's great. And the Cardinals fared very well in Levi Stadium. So, like, if they go up there and they get a win, people will forget about this calamity that was the second half of today. But But if they lose, people are going to forget about the Saints game and not this one.
Yeah, Clancy, I'm gonna ask you to pop out and come back in. Your mic is going everywhere here. I don't think the people can really hear you very well, but we're gonna move on to the next segment. We're gonna talk all things Arizona Cardinals offense. How was Kyler Murray judging his game? Marvin Harrison Jr. as well. But before we do that, let's take a quick break and pay some bills. With that being said, as I have some trouble there moving Alex Clancy from the outside moving in, this episode is brought to you by our lovely friends over at Game Time. I'm sorry, this is missing here. All my stuff is messing up, guys. I apologize. Give me one quick second here, as things are not looking too easy right now. Moving over to our friends at Mazda. Apologize for that, guys. This episode is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those of you who believe it's just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. These moments that are more than you put there are more moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game is, listen, for me, I think it's the Arizona Cardinals, that massive stop, Calais Campbell throwing Bryce Young to the ground like an absolute rag doll. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like that, there's many other more to every highlight. There's more to Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Apologies for that, guys. There are a little bit of technical difficulties. Let's just move immediately over to the Arizona Cardinals offense. Kyler Murray in this game. There was like a tale of two games for Kyler Murray. At one point, he was wheeling and dealing, and I think this is the epitome of Kyler, where we continuously talk about consistency of this team and how consistency is key for this Cardinals team. And I think you saw Kyler Murray evade like 5 or 6 tacklers in that in the span of in the pocket, moving out everywhere and just escaping linebackers in the second level or in safeties in the second level. I think ultimately you saw him turn a 10-yard loss into a 20-yard gain. And then immediately what happened? Kyler Murray threw the ball to the opposing team. I don't think it's one of those things where the Cardinals or where Kyler Murray was terrible in this game, but it's just that consistency where Kyler starts to feel himself, I think, a little too much, and then just throws the ball to the other team. Jamil.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it was I think Kyler wishes he had that one back, right? Like we all kind of, I think, could see that was about to happen, and that was the unfortunate piece about it. Looking at his stat line, 17 to 25, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I thought he moved in the pocket fairly well, to be honest. I mean, like you said, he evaded a few what probably would have been sacks or quarterback hits and extended the plays well. I was hoping to see a little bit more from Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 receptions for 27 yards. I was expecting to see a little bit more. I know he got the touchdown to Michael Wilson, which was nice to see. Trey McBride, he found regularly as usual. I just it was safe, and there's nothing wrong with safe. I like I said earlier when we first started shooting this show, the difference in Kyler this year is going to be, can he manage the game and keep his team in position to win the game? And by that, it was, the defense being on the field for the last drive and having to seal the game. That's what you want out of a game. You want your defense to be in position, or you want to be taking a knee, or you want to be in 4-minute mode. So he did enough to win the game. I felt like it was safe. Nothing wrong with safe, but I think I just have a higher expectation for the offense, man. I feel like the run game wasn't very fluid. It didn't have any rhythm to it. I think James Conner had 30-something yards, ran hard. I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm just expecting a little bit more creativity, I think.
Clancy, we're talking about Kyler Murray and his ability to be able to play consistent football. Jamil just talked about a lot of different things, meaning that Kyler Murray felt like he played well but safe, but overall the offense as a whole just feels a little too timid, especially with all these elite players we feel like around them, Clancy.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. is Marv can't get open.
God.
So if Marv can't get open, what happens now? Like, and listen, to his credit, I'm sure he gets schemed harder than Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. And, everybody knows that, like, opposing defenses know that he's the kind of like the X factor here. If they can figure out how to scheme him open like they schemed Trey McBride open, because remember, Trey McBride's always open. Everybody knows he's getting the ball, and he still got the ball the entire day today. So, like, if they can figure that out with Marv, that's one thing. But that kind of puts a damper on the offense and has to kind of force them to do, other things than if Marv, can't. So I don't know, man. Something seems off. The run game, I think that they're stacking the box a little bit more, which makes them throw the ball. It's like they're trying to make Kyler Murray beat them. And so far, he's kind of been able to do that. But this is a new thing for the Cardinals where they've just been able to run the ball. And they didn't really do that today, aside from Kyler scampering. James Conner had a couple nice little bursts.
So the Panthers prior to this game had given up, I think it's 8 straight games. Excuse me,
it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was a ridiculous
200 yards rushing on the ground, dating back to all the way last year. I think it was like 6 or 7 straight games of 200 yards rushing given up. And they were the worst rushing team allowed last year. And then Travis Etienne ran all over them. Yeah. The Cardinals rushed the ball 22 times for 83 yards, meaning they didn't really have a chance to milk away this game at most points. And they became a pretty balanced offense. Kyler threw the ball 25 times. They rushed the ball 22 times. But as you guys are kind of saying, or at least alluding to, is a little bit of a BB gun offense. Maybe I'm just the one that's going to say it. James Conner hasn't looked good through the first 2 weeks of the season. And I don't know if it's him, Father Time catching up with him, 30-year-old running back. That happens. I'm not ready to say that right away. Or if it's the fact that Jonah Williams is awful. Like, Jonah Williams is a bad right tackle. And on the inside, Isaiah Adams, we're still waiting on Will Hernandez to come back. He was questionable in this game as well. And to come in and play full-time. The interior of this offensive line and Jonah Williams, none of them are playing super well, which I think has made Kyler Murray's performance even better. But Jamil, I'll let you take the offensive line trouble. You either have to say James Conner looks old and should retire, or you have to say the offensive line looked bad.
Listen, you just gave the guy a stray off of.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's been bad. He's been bad. He's been bad since the Cincinnati Bengals. He was a first-round pick, and they just let him walk away. He's not good.
This is what, and I caught a little flack for saying this early on when we started shooting, was that I know you were very high up on James Conner, and I felt like, James Conner, he gets you some tough yards, but he's not going to be your home run hitter. I know we've seen that a few times within his career, but he's just not the guy that's going to break and go for 60 every game. You don't get that from him, which is why I felt like in order for this team to be effective on the ground, they needed to get Kyler Murray involved much more than what he's doing now. I'm talking about literally scheming up a package in which it's either the RPO or the read option. I think we need to see more Trey Benson in there. I feel like Trey Benson has a little more pop. I think he needs more than, I think he had 3 carries today. That's not enough, and especially in terms of if you're saying James Conner gave you 11 for 34 yards. Like, I think they both need to have 10 carries, if I'm being honest. And Kyler Murray should be upwards of, the 7, 8. He should be closing on 10 carries as well. So I just feel like this team, like, you can't just hand the ball off to James Conner and say, hey, go run for 100. He's just not that guy anymore. You're going to have to get creative, and that's what I feel like was lacking today. There was no, like, creativity within the run game. Everything seemed static. Everything seemed like the 3 yards you were getting were a tough 3 yards to get. So I just need to see a little bit more out of the run game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a direct correlative between the run game and the offensive line. Ed Romero, one of the original P1s of Locked On Cardinals from the beginning of 2017, said, like, it's Justin Fry. It's a college offensive line coach now, so it's going to take a little time with that. And listen, Jonah Williams ain't the guy. Okay, he's not. He's fine. He's a C+ right tackle. Okay, luckily they've got Kyler Murray, who can do it. Isaiah Adams ain't the guy. I'm sorry, I don't know why. I've been saying this since day one. When Will Hernandez comes back, when he is healthy, he will start immediately, or should.
For sure.
Isaiah, he's just not. And that's fine. He's not, but he's just not. If they can't run the ball effectively, that doesn't mean the offense is going to die, because they've got Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. on paper. That should be enough. So they just need to figure out the right elixir to go back and forth. But it's been, as I said, this entire offseason, like when we started these things, like the offense and the pass game and the run game are two separate entities. They just happen to be on the same side of the ball. Like they don't play off each other at all. And you can't run play action if you can't run the ball. Jamil, I don't necessarily agree about James Conner yet. He's never been the home run guy. Okay. But when he did actually get a little space between the tackle and the guard, I think it was in the third quarter, early fourth, and he had his longest run of the game, the dude still got scooped. Like he can still eat up yards. It's just difficult when in a situation like this where they're obviously running the ball. They're up 100 points. They're obviously running the ball. It just, I would say TBD on the run game until next week. But the offensive, it hasn't looked good all year.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the offensive line, and we just mentioned Marv a second ago. I want to bring this back up. A couple of years ago, I had mentioned it's not sexy, but it'd be really fun to have bookend tackles in Paris Johnson Jr. and Joe Alt, and this team opted for the wide receiver. Clancy just mentioned this, man. Something I was just trying to avoid, waiting till we really had to talk about it last week. Yes, he had a perfect passer rating when thrown his way. However, he also had the least amount of separation on every single route. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not ready to call it just yet, but this guy ever being a tier 1 echelon wide receiver in the NFL, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be there, man. I understand J.C. Horn, and I forgot the other kid's name, last name Williams. These are actually really good corners, 2 underrated, really good corners in the NFL, probably one of the better tandems, but that shouldn't matter. When you are selected 4th overall, maybe you guys don't have the same expectations that I do. You got to be better. There's got to be some sort of home run. I thought it was a really great start when he basically made the ref throw the flag on the DPI, where he kind of came back to the ball, understood the rule. But Marv, I mean, man, this is good. Like, I thought Michael Wilson looked better than Marvin Harrison Jr. today. Should have had 2 touchdowns this game. Ended up having 1. But Marv, man, I'm starting to think the Cardinals are having some draft day regrets there. Clancy,
not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I think it's too soon to say they're regretting it, but and I said this earlier, and you guys were like, no. I said how I view I want to see Marv make the plays, and I know he has to get the targets, but when we look at Malik Neighbors and the effect that he has on the Giants offense, Marv should have that effect on this offense. Like, I am literally of the essence that you need to force feed this guy. He's too big. He's too fast. Like, he can go up and get it. If nothing's working, hey, Marv's down there somewhere. Like I think he just needs more targets. I don't know how many targets he had today. He had 5 targets. Like, that needs to be doubled. He needs 10 targets a game. Like, he should be a problem for defenses to have to go against. And I think you're underutilizing him if he has anything less than 10 targets, in my opinion.
I mean, that's fair. I don't know if this is the tough part about this is because we're in year 7 of Kyler, it's like, say this was year 3, we're like, okay, then it's Petzing. Just get a new offensive coordinator. It's easy to blame Drew Petzing because it's easier to blame a coordinator than a quarterback. Marv had one 50-50 ball he 100% should have come down with today. He had the dropsy that hit him in the hands for a first down where he ran a really nice crossing route. He got separation. He was wide open by himself, dropped it. I think Marv is the kind of guy that you need to get going early, get the looks going early, get the ball. Like, dude, throw him some bubble screens, man. Just get him the ball and just let him go. Like Malik Neighbors, I'm not pushing back as tough as I was initially. I'm like, there's no other good player on that offense. So obviously he's going to get the touches. That's not a run-first offense. That's a crap box offense, even though they scored 37 points today. Like, there's no Trey McBride there. But still, Kyler Murray threw the ball 25 times, which is so low compared to what standards are nowadays. And Trey and Marv had less than half of those targets. So it's like, and Trey Benson had more targets than Marv today. And a lot of that was on the dink and dunk to get at the end of the first half. But still, I don't know, man. There's going to be, luckily the Cardinals don't play a really good defense. Seattle's a really good defense, but they don't play like a powerhouse defense until Green Bay in week 7. So if they play Green Bay in week 7 and get absolutely swept off the field, we're going to be having weird conversations in the bye week.
And I keep seeing people say that they only punted, I think three times.
Yeah, three or 2 times, like, whatever.
That's not. They
also didn't have the ball a lot in this game.
Right. And that's what I'm going to say. That's not a sign of, your offense being efficient sometimes. Like, you got to look at what actually happened. Some drives stalled, like going for it on certain downs,
26 minutes with the ball.
Yeah, just because it was a 2-punt type of game doesn't mean that there was an efficiency standpoint to the offense.
I don't want to go super long on this, but we haven't talked about the 2 quarterbacks. And I think if you were watching the game broadcast, I know Jamil was at the game for half of it, watched the rest of it on the broadcast. You would have thought that the Panthers were winning this game by 50, the way that they were gassing up Bryce Young in this game. So I don't give so much praise to quarterbacks when they're down multiple scores and they get a couple of touchdowns because the other team's playing prevent coverage while the Cardinals defensive backs are dropping like flies. Granted, Hunter Renfrow, Xavier Legette, not a lot of great weapons out there either. Who was the better quarterback in this game? Just out of curiosity. Young? Kyler?
They won.
Kyler was, right? We're in agreement?
Yeah. I mean, I think Bryce Young threw it 55 times because they were
55,
down.
55, dude.
They were down, So I think, you would have to say Kyler managed the game better than Bryce Young did.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
No, it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay, just making sure. It felt like in that game they were just gassing up Bryce Young a lot, and I just kind of thought to myself, I wasn't sure I was watching the same game as everyone else. With that being said, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Again, tale of 2 games. Old man Calais Campbell coming up with the big stop. Pass rush not necessarily there like you'd like it to be. Let's talk about the Cardinals defense next. But first, gotta tell you about my friends over at DoorDash. Man, you gotta love when there's no technical difficulties and you can just get to these things. It's almost the weekend. Not really. It's actually the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered. Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash. Streaks saving more every time you order. These players deliver when it matters most. Let's break it down. Yesterday, if we're talking about Saturday, you saw Kanye Udo of ASU deliver in a big way where he scored a touchdown. It was just I think it was in the 3rd quarter where he just couldn't be stopped, made the game 27-3. It was like a 50-yard run. ASU showed out against Texas State. So if you've been watching week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Kanye Udo has been someone who ASU has been carrying week in and week out with him and Raleek Brown. So, and just like that, Kanye Udo delivered for ASU. DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it all up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. And I also got to tell you about my friends over at FanDuel. If you're like myself and you like to pay attention to these spreads, Cardinals started off in this game -4.5 and ended up 6.5. Panthers ended up covering, but the NFL season is here and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Hey, listen, let me give you a little betting tip here. Even if you didn't feel good about that Cardinals line, you said, a lot of the public's money's coming in on the Cardinals. Not so sure I feel good about that. Let's take the Panthers here. Or, hey, let's just take the Cardinals to win outright. You'd win that $300 in bonus bets if you bet the Cardinals to win with $5. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. We got to start with this Arizona Cardinals pass rush as I take our friends from FanDuel down here. Second straight week. I mean, you even heard the commentators kind of say it. I felt the same way. The Cardinals, for most of this game, brought 4 men Feels like different from last year, where last year they had to scheme up blitzes artificially to come up with sacks. And it felt like the defense was much more confusing, much more diverse, where this year, it kind of feels like they feel too good about the players they got in free agency. And of course, in the draft, Darius Robinson, I mentioned it before, put him on a milk carton. He was missing. Josh Sweat, I think, was missing for large portions of this game outside of the first drive. And then you ended up having to fall on the backs of, or get on the shoulders of Calais Campbell, slamming down Bryce Young to end this game. Let's talk about this Cardinals defense. You guys starting to get worried about this pass rush where late in this game, the Panthers offensive linemen were dropping like flies? Jamil?
Yeah, I mean, I told you it was concerning last week, but I also said that it takes time to kind of build that, relationship with the pass rush. I think for me, obviously early on, they played well, right? They got the turnover. They, had a bunch of stops. I don't think that the Panthers got into the red zone until the second half, maybe.
Yep.
And so from that standpoint, like sometimes you're not going to have those opportunities, but as long as you're, it's like a bend but don't break type of thing. Like they didn't let the guys in the red zone. So that's a good outing for them. And then they made a defensive stand to end the game. So while the numbers may not be there, and obviously you don't want to see, the Panthers kind of rally back, the defense did what they had to do in terms of getting the stops and winning the game at the end. So yes, we want to see more, from a pass rush standpoint. Obviously Calais is the old guy on the defense, but, produced the 2 sacks there, which is, you can't pick and choose who gets the sacks, but they did what they had to do, man. It was, again, everything about this win feels different because of who it was against. So we'll see as the competition stiffens.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the pass rush at all. Why would you put on tape what you're planning for in future weeks if you don't have to? This was a bend, don't break defense. It was kind of just hope the clock runs out before anything crazy happens kind of thing. Obviously, that isn't what happened. But especially like what we saw in the fourth quarter, there were a couple where they just got home. Like
that is true.
And that was the one, like Nick Ross, like, damn it, I don't want to have to use this right now. But he had to use it. There were a couple where he had to use it. Like Baron Browning was free. Like, I'm not worried about this. With Darius Robinson, yeah. I haven't seen anything from Darius Robinson to make me believe that the dude is worth a first overall pick or a late first round pick 2 years ago. That's not to say it won't happen, but it hasn't shown it yet. Jordan Birch had that sack that Denzel Burke had the defensive holding in New Mexico, and Bryce Young was in Utah. But listen, the pass rush is going to be fine. I truly believe the pass rush is going to be fine. I did want to mention something because we're going to be pivoting to corners now. Darren Urban of March Chattered for the Cardinals. He just tweeted out, this was an hour ago, so we've obviously been on this show and stuff. On top of Melton and Garrett Williams' knee injuries, he said Will Johnson left the game with a groin injury. So that's not what happened. That's not why he went out initially. He went out initially because he got peanut punched by Jordan Birch. Jordan Birch missed the ball, hit Will Johnson in the ribs. That's why he went out. That looked to be really bad. I thought he broke his hand because his hand was contorted, but yeah, so I guess he left with a groin injury too. So there's going to be a lot of things to discuss here between now and like Tuesday of this week to see what the hell's going on with these guys. I feel like tomorrow morning may not be a very good day for Cardinals fans.
I mean, with the game coming up against an offensive mastermind and Kyle Shanahan, granted, Mac Jones is going to play, and he was good. I mean, for all intents and purposes against the game in the Saints. He had a bad turnover. I think it was an interception or it was a fumble. It really doesn't matter.
He threw 3 touchdowns.
He ended up throwing 3 touchdowns. Okay, well, that's a very good game for Mac Jones. I must have missed that last touchdown. That's right. He threw into Juwan Jennings. Coming up against the San Francisco 49ers, but not just them, the Seattle Seahawks, where Jackson Smith and Jigba looks really good. If you're missing Jalen Thompson, Garrett Williams, Will Johnson, and Max Melton, potentially, like, let's just say 2 of those guys don't go. Denzel Burke, it was a bad holding call, but still got called for it. I thought got picked on. There's no reason why when Will Johnson was in the game that Denzel Burke was lined up with Teteroa McMillan, which was just nonsense. But can the Cardinals survive this, Jamil?
Man, I was just looking at the schedule, and I know before the season started, we're like, they should come out of this thing basically 7-0, given the teams that they're going against. And I know we talked about the depth at the cornerback position, and if one or two guys get hurt, now you're in a situation in which things could get a little sticky. And I'm just looking at the teams. Like Indiana's looking like a team that, and I know that's 4 weeks away, so hopefully guys are back, but it's no cakewalk in the next 4 or 5 weeks. Like the competition just gets better and better as the weeks go on. So I don't know. Like we don't know how serious the injuries are, right? Like I think tomorrow and Tuesday, as we find out more.
I feel like we kind of know though, right? Max Mellons did not look good.
No,
Max
it didn't
look good.
Garrett Williams looked like he tore his ACL.
Yeah, Garrett Williams. Oh man, and he's already torn it once, dude.
Yeah, that's why. And listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not.
We're not. We've watched enough football,
right? But I hate to speculate from an injury standpoint, just because, like, you just never know, right? And then a groin, that one didn't look like he ever messed up his groin, but a groin can keep you out for weeks at a time. Yeah. So we just don't know yet, but it's gonna be tough, man. Especially considering, like, I just watched Seattle beat the Steelers, and Tennessee just went toe-to-toe with the Rams. Like Indiana just pulled out, or Indianapolis just pulled out one. So the competition is going to get stiffer, and we just got to wait and see tomorrow what the injury report says.
So there's a couple names to become familiar with: James Bradbury, Kendall Fuller, Stephon Gilmore, Emmanuel Mosley, Antonio Hamilton, former Arizona Cardinal. That's it, man. Trayvon Mullen, yuck. Like Caleb Farley. There's not much out there. Okay. So listen, here's the thing. This is, and I say this with 100% seriousness. This isn't funny. I say this with 100% seriousness. You could see the Cardinals trade a second or third round pick for a corner this week if all three of those guys are going to miss extensive time. Like, this isn't something where it's like, oh no, let's roll out Keitrell Clark and Clark and Denzel Burke and just kind of see what happens. The one beautiful thing about this is with the Demon DB mode that I set up, because it's lazy, but it works. With the 3 safety set, you need 2 outside corners, not 3. Okay? So if you can run that set more, which isn't ideal, and Will Johnson comes back, hopefully he plays. And listen, we don't know about the other guys. There's going to be a move made quickly. There's no way there can't be.
There has to be.
You can't. This is why you have all the money and all the picks. You can do something like this when catastrophe happens.
Oh man, a Bradbury, a Gilmore, like all these guys they're older than me. They're getting their pension at this point. It's scary. It's scary. It's scary when you have to go and get an older cornerback. Not to say that, we know how great Stephon Gilmore is, but you go from this young athletic group to now you're depending on older guys who haven't played ball in a while, and you don't know what their training regimen has been. Obviously everyone's going to say they're ready, but it just puts you in a weird spot as far as running your defense the way that you're accustomed to when you have to go pull these other guys off the street. So what's crazy is, we talked about this group being a strength, and we knew that if the injuries happen, that it could be detrimental to the defense. So yeah, man, I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what the report says within the next couple of days.
They don't really have the luxury either of waiting this week out and being like, if it doesn't work out, now we'll spend a quote unquote premium pick on a player, because week 4, they're playing on Thursday Night Football.
Thursday night.
They don't have a lot of time to get these guys healthy. So if they feel like these guys need a week and a half, maybe they just do it and they get ready for Thursday Night Football. But maybe you see Darren Hall get elevated from the practice squad, who had a good camp and a good preseason this last week. But I don't know, man. Kyle Shanahan's licking his chops. He is getting ready he is going to test those Cardinals cornerbacks a lot. And so to Clancy's point, I'm not so sure if I buy into completely that maybe they're saving stuff, like a lot of things, because it feels like they haven't used anything on the defense this far this season outside of those last 2 stops for Bryce Young. But Nick Rawls is probably going to have to go deep in the bag. Like, this is going to have to be starting to manufacture sacks, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. That's all that the cornerbacks need to be able to defend over the next couple of weeks. Because I mean, man, if we're talking to pass rush that can't get to the quarterback without artificially doing it, and guys in the defensive backfield who can't cover anyone, I know that right now the Niners weapons don't scare you like a ton because there's no Kittle, and Juwan Jennings is probably their number one guy, but Kyle Shannon's going to test those dudes. He's looking right at those guys. It's concerning, man. I don't know what they're going to be able to do with that.
And you got 2 division games coming up. Like these are, I know it's early, but these are, especially in this division, these are important games.
Agreed. All of that agreed. Listen, this isn't a news story. People get injured every single day. Teams deal with it every single day, and they win every single week. So this isn't a poor Cardinals thing. This is a figure it the bleep out and move the hell on thing.
But I'll say
this is not dehumanizing anybody that got injured by any stretch. But this is like, okay, now you gotta go.
Typically, we don't see top 3 corners.
Right.
That's where I agree with Jamil too. Like, it was
all hard part.
The Cardinals, if the Cardinals wanted to trade for Denzel Ward tomorrow and pay him, they could, and it wouldn't ruin anything. There are a lot of bad teams in this league who could use a late first or a second round pick for a corner to kind of move. I'm saying Denzel Ward because Cleveland's terrible and he's their best corner. He makes way too much money. Okay. I think he makes 22 a year or something. There are a lot of really good corners in this league that are CB2 on their team that could come in and be a stopgap for the Cardinals, even if it's a 1-year rental. Like, this is not something the Cardinals are going to take lightly if all 3 of these guys miss time. Yeah. It's not, they can't. Nobody can afford to. Everybody's job is on the line in some form or fashion.
I say we just move right on to our guy Patrick Peterson. Let's just call him back up. Let's
while you're at it, call me too. Why not?
We've been trying to call you for weeks. What do you mean? You can't just say that now. We've been begging for you to come back and help out.
He's going to go play for the Dolphins. I think
my ankle. I'll go. Yeah, it's already broken. So my ankles hurt just thinking about it.
All right, let's move on to the final segment. Let's get to some lessons of the game. Let's talk all things Arizona Cardinals, and let's wrap up the show next. All right, let's close it out like this. What do you take away from this game? Meaning the Cardinals won, they're 2-0, but you can't necessarily say that they're a good team. Is there what can you clean up exactly? And is some of this stuff actually fixable, Clancy?
Okay. So here's the thing. The offense is completely intact. If Kyler Murray can't go win games when people get injured, he's not the guy. That's really what it comes down to. The offense is supposed to be the strength of this team. It's had to have been that from the beginning, okay? I'm taking the Cliff years out of it. I am. He was playing with a hand behind his back. When you look at where they are now, regardless of what you think about Drew Petzing, they've got plenty of offensive firepower to score 30 points a game. They've got plenty. So if you've got a young cornerback room that's down a couple dudes, go score more points than the other team. Like, this isn't like, oh, defense, save us. It's like, no. If that's not the case, go win football games. And that's really what it comes down to. My takeaway from this is the Cardinals are well equipped to withstand injuries on the defensive side of the ball. They just need to do it. That's it. And then, one great thing about today, Trey McBride is still always open. Always. He's always open, and he catches everything. So maybe throw him the ball 15 times. If that's what's going to make the offense go, throw him the ball 15 times, not 5.
This offense is part of that lesson as well, that this offense, we're taking it back to last year. We're no longer running this offense through or trying to run this offense through Marvin Harrison Jr. We're just going to Trey McBride because that's what needs to work, because Marv, maybe he's just, I don't want to start any debates, but maybe he's just not ready to be the guy right now.
Well, you were never running the offense through Marv, ever. It was James Conner and Trey McBride.
Sure.
If you can
change it from that.
If Marv can step up a little bit and they can figure out how to scheme him open, that changes everything. Like, if they can figure out how to scheme Marv, and Garrett Williams misses the entire, knock on wood, if we don't see Garrett Williams again in 2025, but Marv figures out how to do this with Trey McBride, it's a wash. Because you unlocked one guy and you had to put one guy, hopefully not in surgery and on the shelf, but like, if the offense can play to its potential, you can withstand what happened today. If they don't, you can't. It doesn't matter who you bring in. Yeah. That's fair, right? I mean, the offense needs to be held accountable at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the way I'm looking at it right now is the DBs, right? The DBs are hurt, and so it's gonna add stress to somewhere. Like Clancy said, the offense is supposed to be the strong point of this team, and so the offense has to click now. Like there has to be that feeling that we talked about where there's an identity, right? And right now is like the team is still good enough for the Cardinals to get done what needs to be done. Like I think about my time in Tennessee, like you guys couldn't name our corners. I mean, we had Adoree Jackson, and outside of that, you couldn't name our
You
corners.
can't name your teammates. You guys were the 1 seed of the AFC.
No, I could. I'm saying, can you?
Okay, I was gonna say no, I can't.
Exactly. So we had a strong enough offense in order to get to that point in the AFC. So and I know that they don't have, a Derrick Henry or, a AJ Brown and things like that, but this team has weapons on the offensive side of the ball enough to where they can score points that puts their defense in advantageous situations. The biggest thing that I take away from this game is the run game just has to get going, man. There's going to be I feel like if we go into these next couple games expecting Kyler to play hero ball, it's going to be tough to get it done that way. There has to be something that complements the ball going in the air, and it has to be, like I said, creating an identity on the ground, because you're not going to win these games by just throwing the ball every play. Like they need to get something going consistently on the ground.
That's right.
There's a combination, I think, right now, and I think Kyler deserves some praise in this instance. And I've been a pretty big Kyler Murray fan this year. I think he's done exactly what we've asked him to do to be a consistent enough quarterback. That last interception, I think there's a few things that go into it, although it can't happen. Like it was a boneheaded interception at the end of the day. Opposing teams, the Saints and the Panthers in this mix, have stacked the box a lot this year and have told teams, or have told the Cardinals, make Kyler Murray beat us. And I think when they've put the ball in Kyler's hands to actually throw the ball downfield, they've been pretty good at that. And I think I know they only punted twice in this game. I think they only had, it felt like 6 possessions. They scored a couple of touchdowns in this game. And I thought the throw to Michael Wilson was awesome. I thought the screen pass where Trey McBride hooked a dude in the neck, where I thought ultimately Michael Wilson was going to score anyways. I thought Kyler's been pretty good, but I think ultimately what you learned is this is a wake-up call for Drew Petzing and Kyler to say, okay, through 2 weeks, you bailed us out. Kyler threw a really bad interception, which kind of sparked the real, comeback of the Carolina Panthers. And the defense said, we got you. No big deal. Over the next couple of weeks, this has got to be an offense that says, okay, we got you, whether it's James Conner bursting out, whether it's Kyler Murray finding Marvin Harrison Jr. But I know the Seattle defense is pretty good. The Niners defense got lit up by Spencer Rattler today, who had 3 touchdowns and I don't think any interceptions. So I think it's the opposing team, or the Cardinals offense has to wake up and say, we got to pick up the defense now. And I'm a little concerned that they can do that, but they're 2 weeks. I think when they've asked Kyler to put the ball in his hands, he's done a pretty good job of it.
Except for the only drive that could have saved all of this. They had the ball with 5 minutes left, 3 first downs, and the game's over. And they went 3 and out, no victory formation.
God, that's so frustrating.
They had the ball with 5 minutes left, up 100 points, and they couldn't get 2 first downs and salt the game away. That is something they've never been able to do. So that when push comes to shove, if you need a 3rd and 9 converted against Seattle to keep the game going or whatever it is, if you can't get 2 first downs when you're up 100 points at home against Carolina, whose defense has been on the field the whole day, it's like that's the thing that you kind of just put in the back corner, close the door. It's like, let's not talk about this yet because they won the first 2 weeks. They had 2 chances to do it in 2 weeks against 2 bad teams, and they're 0-2, and it wasn't close. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And it's just like,
yeah,
that's the thing that I try not to think about because they did get a win.
So here's why I want to give the Cardinals offense a little bit of credit. In their So they came out. So they had a touch. So they had a field goal that made it 13-3. So that was a scoring possession. 10 plays, 61 yards. Then they had a touchdown in their next possession, and then they had a touchdown in their next possession. I remember seeing that graphic where they had scored on everything outside of maybe it was like one bad possession where they didn't do that. In the fourth quarter, interception for Kyler, where even if they just kick the field goal, the game is over. And a punt, like Clancy is mentioning, where they only took away 34 yards, where Michael Wilson and Kyler Murray, which it feels like at some point this is a Kyler Murray issue, dating all the way back to AJ Green, who doesn't know the play, or Marvin Harrison Jr. last week who had a ball sail over his head, or Michael Wilson this week who had a ball sail over his head, where if he catches it, the game's probably over. So there's those instances too that they have to clean up, but I'll chop it up to it's early in the season. They're still kind of figuring it out, but I think the biggest thing is, man, Marv's got to come alive, and if he does, this offense is going to be really good. And I think that's just what they're missing. One big playmaker. If Marv can do some of the things that Michael Wilson did today, we're changing up some of the things. And the excuse cannot be, well, the corners of the Panthers are actually pretty good.
Yeah. There's also something that was glaring to me that I'm looking at it. The 3 drives that the Panthers had in the second half, 14 plays, 76 yards, 14 plays, 88 yards, 12 plays, 76 yards. I know one of those was like prolonged by penalties, but the defense has to be able to get off the field. Like 14 play drives are, I mean, you just got to, yeah, you got to be able to get off the field, man. And
Jamil, as a former player, let me just ask you this. I know you played obviously on the offensive side of the ball, but you have, the headsets on, you're listening to what's going on the sideline.
Yeah.
Why do teams that are up big, when they have everything they've done on defense has shut down the opposing team, and they abandon all of that and just go into prevent coverages? I mean, I understand there's some things for that, but I don't get it fully, especially when you see the other team making a comeback. You don't go back to the things that work until the last drive of the game where they went back to the things that work and the Panthers had no shot of moving the football.
Right. I think there's just some conservative ball that comes in, to a certain extent. You're like, okay, let's not give up the deep ball, or let's not blitz and get beat over the top because we're in cover 0. Like, there's just little things like that where defensive coordinators try to play smart, and ultimately sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I just feel like, I don't know, man, there's those two things to me stand out. Like, we got to get the running game going, and we have to get off the field, because there's no way that this Panthers offense should be able to drive 14 plays, 12 plays, and all end in touchdowns in order to get the game close. I mean, you take away the first play or the touchdown by the defense, this game looks, and I know we're chasing ghosts if we do that, but this game looks completely different, So those are the two things that stand out to me. Get the run game going, get off the field on defense.
Yeah, and I mean, the defense, like, they've had to pass rush 100 times in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Like, Calais looked good today. Calais looked good. I think everybody else just tired as hell. It's just like, and they've got a bunch of guys, like, again, like, and these aren't excuses. These are more reasons. Next week will be excuse if they don't get home much, but they still don't know who the best guys to play in at any given situation are yet. Like, Dante Stills looked good today, even though he had an offsides and an encroachment called late. Like, Baron Browning got home. Josh Sweat got home. Like, they look quick off the edge, but if it's hurry up offense and they're on the field for 8 minutes of gameplay or whatever, and they're constantly rushing the passer, yeah, they're going to get tired. I don't know. Like, we're going to find out a lot in these next 2 weeks. Yeah. And I think they go to Indy in week 5, which is now not an easy matchup.
That's what I'm saying. Indy looks like a different team now.
Like, it's
just really quickly, like we did last week, 30 seconds. Feel better or worse about the Cardinals' chances against San Francisco 49ers? All things considered. I know Rapport's saying that Brock Purdy could play. Cool, man. Play on one foot. I would love to see that happen. But Niners, Cardinals, you guys feel better or worse about the matchup?
I'm indifferent. I don't feel better or
God,
I don't feel better.
Soft.
I don't feel better or worse about it. I mean, these are two teams that have a ton of injuries. It's just which side of the ball shows up for the Cardinals. The Cardinals should win this game. If you're asking me, like, they should win this game.
Okay, so you feel better about it.
I feel the same. Like, I don't know.
QB1 versus QB2, like, And I know Mac Jones has been a starter in this league, but like the expectation is that Kyler should come out and win this game.
There is no world where you're blaming the defense for the Cardinals losing games because they lost guys. This defense has leveled up so much talent-wise that even if you lose Garrett Williams and Max, which is catastrophic, of course it is, they've leveled up so much elsewhere that it balances out. Like without Max Melton and Garrett Williams on this roster, this defense is still better than it was last year. Yeah. Like that's how far they've leveled up. And it's not exact. If Kyler Murray wants to lead this team to the playoffs, it's going to have to be on him regardless of how good the defense is. So that hasn't changed today. Like for me with San Francisco, should they get a win? I don't know. They play so well and they've won so many games they weren't supposed to win. But remember, the best player when healthy, I would take if I was guaranteed that he were to play 17 weeks in a draft anybody offense, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey and he plays on the other team. So as long as that's the case, you can't feel great about playing the 49ers.
Yeah.
I would definitely say I feel worse if I'm just picking a side. If the Cardinals can finally, I think there's a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers with the Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger teams where they would like beat the Patriots one week or at least get really close to the Patriots where they play up or down to their opponent. Whoever they're playing, they're going to play up to that. And and if they're worse than them, they're going to play down to that. I think there's a little bit of that here with the Arizona Cardinals right now. So with that being said, I think they're going to win, but I don't feel as good about it right now. And so looking at 3-0 in the face, hey, listen, man, 2-0 is 2-0, right?
It is.
That is a fact. It literally is.
It is a 2-0 and a 0.
With that being said, we will be back with you guys on Wednesday for Clancy, Douglas, or I guess that's not good. For Clancy, Jamil, everyone in the chat, Ed, Darren. Wow, it's a lot of Ed and Darren's right now in the chat. But with that being said, everyone that's been in the catalog, Aaron, everyone that's been watching, Nate Best, appreciate you guys being here. Stay safe, and we will see you guys on Wednesday at 6 p.m.